Normally when you do an animation, a nice idea is this is a cycle, and oh, you may be wondering why he isn't moving, and that is because you can mute. You know, if you want to go back and rework something, if I'm just going to show you, I'll unmute this. You know, I've got him moving forwards, as you can see. But if I want to stop him moving forwards, if I want this to work on the cycle, he's going backwards now. I can just click on the control that I want, and just this channel, the Z, that has this line in it, I can just mute this. I can go mute selected, right click mute selected, and he will no longer move on that channel. The animation is still there, but we just can't see it. Okay, so we've got moving up and down. And let's just say, I'm going to mute the forward translation for the time being. Let's say I want, when you move like this, I mean this is the basic cycle, 25 frames of him doing the same thing again and again. But let's say we want to make this just a little bit more realistic. What I would normally do is I would bake this out for maybe say 5 cycles. So if you imagine 25 is 1, so 2 cycles actually isn't 50 because the first and last frames repeat. It should be 49. Look, 49 and 1. See, it's the same frame, 49. And 3 cycles is not going to be 150. It's going to be 148. 148. If you go to 148. Oops. I know, sorry, 148. I'm talking nonsense. Not 148. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. What's it? 1, 2, 3. 3 cycles. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. No, have I lost my brain? 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. Hang on a minute. I know this is strange. When you're doing these, I'm being completely ludicrous here. 2 cycles, of course, is my mental arithmetic is when you're talking like this and trying to do a tutorial. 2 cycles, of course, is going to be well, 24 times 2 take 25 times 2 take 1, which is 49, and then 3 cycles is going to be 73. So anyway, I get 73 at last. My brain is working again. 73. Etc, etc. Anyway, I'll show you the principle. I would normally bake out 5 cycles. I'm just going to bake out 3, and I'll show you what I would do. 5 is a good number. So I'd take the animated controllers, all of these, yeah, that, and this, so all those, not the main one, not the one that's translating forward, I leave that. So we've got them going like this. I would take these, so we're going to 73, and I would just go edit. Now this is a thing to say before we do all this is always save versions before you bake. It's always a good idea because you may want to go back, and the bake cycles are always a bit harder to edit because they have lots of keys on every frame. So I would go File, Save Scene As. I'm going to make sure I've got a version 3 saved. I might even call it pre-bake or before bake. Yeah. Anyway, so I got a version 73. And then I'd bake again, edit, keys, bake simulation. Now all I'm going to do now, what I would do now, is I'm just going to add some subtle changes. Just because I don't want this to look too generic. And I just mean very subtle, not things that you could pick up very easily. You don't want something that you're going to see, that you're going to spot. It just has to be subtle variation. So for example, on the bounce, on the upward bounce, say this foot here. Now, I've only done this 3 times. I would probably do it 5 or 6 if I was, if I wanted to make these kind of variations. I'd do it a little bit more. So I might say pick these, and using this scale tool, I could maybe, let's say I'm going to go to this one with something I can see. So I'll go here. I'm just going to maybe just bring this down, maybe a fraction. We don't bring it down a fraction with that. So that and that and that. No, let's see, hopefully that's not going through the ground. Maybe it's going through the ground, but I'll bring it up a bit. Just a bit off the ground. It's not quite the same. And then I might go to, say, the other foot here, and I may do something else. I go translate Y. You can make some. I could maybe alter the steepness of this. I might just get rid of some of these curves, and I might have this going up. Oops, not like that. I'll use the translate tool. Maybe have this round like this, and maybe have it like that, and then maybe push this up a little bit like this, just so it's slightly different. I might bring this up, maybe pull this up even further so it's a bit higher up, and I could then go into this bit here, and we've got some other tools here that I haven't really talked about. These are scaling tools. Some of them are quite good. You can I could take this shape here, select these keys, and use this one, sorry, this kind of latticey thing here, and I could just maybe alter the shape. See, it pulls all the keys down. Whoops, what I'm doing, pull them down so a little bit more like that, slightly different shape. I could then there's this key, this one here, which is a kind of, looks like a scale tool. I could scale this down like this. You see, just pulling this is this tool, scaling that down. So I may make some adjustments, and likewise to the bounce, the up and down movement. Yeah, I might want to affect some of these slightly differently. I can grab hold of this, move it down a bit, grab hold of this, move it up a bit, and maybe make this a bit deeper here. I might just use a normal, just pull those keys down slightly. And again, so let's make sure that's, I'm just holding onto that, I can drag these down. So also the curves. So basically you just end up making these subtle adjustments, and then it will just make the animation a little more. I can see I haven't looped his squashing up and down, which I need to do. You see, it's unfortunately this is I'm not going to loop that. I've just baked it out as a straight line because I forgot to loop it before I baked all those things. So, but it's not to worry. I can just go to, remember Monty's cycle is up to frame 25. I can simply go to the frame after it, 26, and I can just go curves, post infinity cycle, just so that we have so everything else is, I've baked out everything else, but I can just make sure that at least this here is cycling. I've got quite a few keys in here. So there we go. So Monty is now cycling and walking. And there's only one more thing that I'm going to show you. So we've got a slightly less generic walk. He's walking on the spot. I'm going to take him off walking on the spot, and I'm just going to go here. I'm going to, go to the main control, which is on the ground, if I can find it. So I'll go to NURBS curves, pressing the main control, and I'm just going to, where it says translate Z, I'm going to unmute that, so he's walking. And I'm going to show you one more thing that's very handy, which are called animation layers, which we haven't covered yet. So this is when you've got your animation and it's kind of doing what you want. We've made some subtle adjustments. It's all looking kind of okay. It's kind of working, but we want to make it look a bit more naturalistic. We're going to have Monty looking to the side. Now the good thing about animation layers is they don't affect really the animation beneath them. They just lie on top. They kind of incorporate into the animation. So I'm going to go to the anim display layers. Now what I'm going to use to get Monty to look is just this control here. Yeah, this one here, the top one. So but as that's a control I'm using, I have put that one in the animation layer. So I'm going to add that with this button here to the animation layer. Yeah, and I can call this head turn layer just by clicking on it. So Monty's going to wander, and frame 30 I'm going to key. Now if I press, look, you see the base animation, we have all this animation on it. If I go to the head turn, layer. There's nothing on it. It's a new animation layer. I'm going to press S on this head turn layer, so I make sure I get on it. There's still keys in the timeline because the timeline just shows the keys that are on the whole rig. I'll press S. Wait, come on. S. Onto head. Head turn. I'll make sure this is actually in the layer. Add selected objects. Okay, sorry, it wasn't in the layer for some reason. Now it is. There's no keys. As you can see, the base animation, we have all the keys. The head turn, no keys, because we haven't done anything yet. Well, I've made one key, I think, by pressing on S. So I'm going to just make sure that's there, 31. So what I did there was, normally when you press this, it should add the controller that you want to add to the layer, but it wasn't doing it for some reason, so I had to right click on this, and with this control selected, the one I'm adding, I had to write add selected objects. So anyway, it's in there now. So I've got this, I'm going to make sure I'm on head turn. I've got my first key. I'm going to have him turning. I'm going to have the head looking out this way and maybe up a little bit. He's checking out a building or something. I have it still looking at the building for a while. And then I'm going to have his head returning to normal. So after that, I'm going to have the heads coming back to normal. So just have it going back this way, yeah? Just that way. In fact, I can even zero it out here, so the heads are back at where they should be. Yeah, so there you can see the so the head. So he looks, and then he's back. Yeah, or maybe I'll make him a bit longer. So there we go. Monty wandering, looks up. It's a very short look actually. Probably haven't looked for longer. Maybe I'll just go to the head turn layer again, and I'm just going to extend that look a little bit so he's looking for a bit longer. There we go. So if he goes, has a look. Oh, nothing much going on there. And that in essence is a walk cycle, and you can put as many bells and whistles on that as you like. So I hope you find it interesting and informative.